Hey everyone. Hello, good morning, good afternoon. I don't know if you can hear my Google Home decided to greet you as well. Hey Suhaim, how are you doing?
How's it going? I'm
Good,
doing well.
good,
How's it going with you?
good, good. So yeah, today, Postman stream as every week, again with a new guest. And today it's Suhaim that's with us from Twitter. Where are you? Are you in SF actually? I know I think you're Pacific time, but I don't know exactly where you're located.
I'm actually in Seattle.
Oh yeah. That's true. That's true. You did tell me that. But
Yeah, yeah.
it is the same time zone, right?
Yeah. It's the same time zone.
Okay.
Obviously, things are much better here
Yeah, I was gonna
compared
say
to
same time zone.
SF right now.
No orange skies though.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
And what is it you do?
So I'm actually a developer advocate I specifically focus on academic research. So professors, independent researchers that want to do research with Twitter data. My job is to help them succeed on our platform because many times academics might not always be like data engineers. So sometimes people think that they'll be like really like they code a lot and things like that, but that might not be the case. So my job is to help them understand Twitter APIs, how to use Twitter APIs to get the data that they need for their research. So that's what I primarily focus on. And
Okay.
I used to work on the Alexa team in the past. That's why the stream about
What a surprise! So yeah, actually let's get into that. So today the title of our stream today is building a Twitter skill for Alexa using the new Twitter API. And the hardest thing I think was to fit all these keywords in one title. It was like on my side, it was so hard to find a title that was like attractive, but also would like have all the actual things that we're going to do. And I think it doesn't mention everything. But yeah, so that's what we're going to try to do today. So you already have created a skill before, but Twitter has this new API, so V2, right? And the idea is that we're gonna add a skill to, or is it a completely new skill? What are we going to do?
So we already have an Alexa skill that I put together for Twitter, and I made it specifically for like the screen device because Twitter already had a skill in the past where you can like ask about your like latest mentions and things like that. That uses obviously the 1.1 of the API. But then a few people that use Alexa skills, they'll know about like screen devices, right? So Alexa supports like the Echo Show, which like you can actually like ask Alexa for things and it'll tell you or you can actually see things. So like this is one of the devices, actually, I don't know if you guys can see it, but like you can actually see the timeline, things like that on it, right? So I put together a Alexa skill in the past that uses this thing called APL, right? So APL is Alexa Presentation Language. And so just for some context, right? Like I said earlier, we just had, the Echo device without the screen. So you could like ask like, okay, tell me what my latest retweeted, things like that. Then we had this idea of cards, right? So card would be rendered as like templates and things like that. And then obviously Alexa became more advanced with Alexa Presentation Language. Then you can have visual components. So you can see text on a screen, images and things like that. So I actually put together a skill in the past that uses the V1.1 of our API, right? So as you pointed out that we now have a new Twitter API, the V2. So that includes a lot of exciting new endpoints. It includes also some additional features, right? So like things like polls, like getting programmatically data about polls was something that we didn't have in the past. Things about conversation ID, so like getting your entire conversation, we didn't have that as well. So all of that is now included in V2, which is exciting. So what I wanted to do for this stream is we wanted to walk through building the Alexa skill as is, like the one that we have right now with the 1.1, and like basically talk a little bit about like how to build an Alexa skill, which Twitter API 1.1 that we were using. What are some challenges? Actually, that's one thing that we can like discuss actually now as well, right? But for Alexa, like think about your Twitter experience like on the web. If you've to, it's like really intuitive for you to like go and like check your timeline. You're able to like see things, even if it includes things like URLs, right? So let's say I tweet a link with like to something on Instagram, something like that, right? You automatically know, okay, I need to click on this, and you're able to like understand the experience. But with the voice, it's a little interesting, right? Because now Alexa is reading things to you, and sometimes there can be some awkwardness. So like imagine if you ask Alexa, show me tweets about the Lakers, right? And if there are tweets that include the URL, then say from the Lakers, HTTPS. That's gonna be kind of awkward. So those are like some like things to like consider when people build skills, right? Is like how do you make it like a more natural experience for.
Yeah, I remember like wasn't it even in the previous version of the API, wasn't there like different like in your JSON that would get some parameters would be if there's a link, then you would have this link parameter.
Yeah.
And you could extract the link, but it was still in the text, right? And so because you would read out the text, it was not passed out. And this is what you're doing now.
So actually, yeah. So it's still the case, but the only thing is that because obviously I'm the one that wrote the skill, right? Then I'm purposely like checking that if it contains HTTP, I want to like show those tweets, or maybe we can find a better way. Obviously, because we're like short in time, then we don't cover like all of these edge cases. But then obviously those are good things to consider. That like what you might want to include, what you might not want included, and things like even displaying purposes, right? Like if you, and we'll get into this, but like when you see it on the screen, like how do you show the image, the username and things like that? Because you want to try and like keep the experience similar to what people are used to on the Twitter web app or on your mobile app, right? So those are some like interesting challenges. So I can, if you want, I can go ahead and start.
Wait, so you made a good point. We're short on time, so let me get started. First, I'll say hi to JTZon and Declan that are on the chat. And Declan has a question. He just says, or they just say, I don't know, that they can't get in touch with anyone on Twitter. So what's the best way to reach out to like Twitter support? Do you have like?
So if you go to Twitter community, I can drop a link for it. But like if you go to the twittercommunity.com, that's actually the link to our forums. And you can essentially like ask questions there. I'm one of the people that responds there. So
I know I've asked a question there before. I've provided feedback. I can't remember, and I did get an answer. So I would recommend doing that. It should work. So before we get started with the stream, what we usually do at the beginning of the stream is, in case you missed it for the Postman people out there, in case you missed it, it's in the title. In case you missed it, there's new stuff in Postman, and there was a release this Monday, so I'm going to quickly go through what was new, and then we'll jump into the actual content. So three new things that you may be interested in. So maybe we have new viewers. What is Postman? Postman is a API collaboration tool. If you do anything API related, you may have heard of us. If you do API related stuff and you've not heard of us, you can check it out, or you can't. It's up to you. I don't mind. But so in the last version, we had three things. First one is static IPs for monitors. So monitors allow you to check how like the health of your API, for example. So if you're Twitter and you have APIs out there, you can run a monitor that's gonna like ping your API every 5 minutes, every hour, or every day, and you get and write tests on that, and you get a summary of what happened. If it's ever down, you get a notification about it. So yeah, now you can get static IP for that, which means whenever you monitor run, you don't have to like change the IP that you get your info from. That's the first one. Second one, are you familiar with OpenAPI definitions? Like, I don't know how far into API you are. So.
Oh yeah, no, fairly familiar with it. Okay. Actually, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know. Like, so I know you do a lot of API work, but I don't know if you're more on the development side or in the definition side. So for those out there that don't know, OpenAPI is a specification that you use to like define your APIs, and you can do that in Postman. You could do that by heart first, and now we have autocomplete. So if you're doing that in Postman, you don't even have to know. You just type and it tells you, oh, this is what you need. It's pretty handy. And we did a stream actually on that like 2 weeks ago, so you can check it out. And the last one is, and I think I remember Facebook doing that a while ago, where they forced all their employees to like use a slower like connection, or like a not as fast connection, just to try Facebook on a slower connection. And now you can do that with Postman if you have an API that some users access from either a region that doesn't have like high-speed network, or just like it's a mobile app, so like most people will access from a like 3G mobile, etc. Then you can simulate that, and you can like test your API based on this like network delay that we create for you. So yeah, that's 3 of the features. There's more. As usual, if you go on the Postman community forum this time, you can read about it. There's the full release notes that you can access, and that's it for the Postman side. So let's jump into Alexa/Twitter. So Suhaim, can you share your screen, please?
Actually, before that, I just want to like give a shout out to you guys, man, because like I remember, so I was like I said before joining Twitter, I was a solutions architect on Amazon, and then before that, I was actually a software engineer. So I remember I was like right out of school, and that was my first job as a software engineer. And my manager, he introduced me to Postman. At the time, it was a Chrome extension.
Yep.
Yeah. Man, I was like so excited to like try that thing, and like that changed my life. So like ever since then, like in all of my jobs now, I like always use Postman personally, because like it just makes it so easy. Even like as a software engineer, when I was like writing APIs myself, and then obviously now testing the Twitter APIs and things like that. Big fan of Postman. Now it's like becoming even fancier than like what it used to be when I was a Chrome.
Yeah, it used to be very much paste your URL and click send, and now there's like so much that's around that. But yeah, I guess thank you for that. Okay, so yeah, so you're sharing your screen, and let me put you for everyone to see. Okay, so we're seeing your screen. Let us know what you're doing there.
Are you seeing my browser with the GitHub for the Alexa skill?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, so what we'll do is, like I mentioned first, let's go and build like this existing Alexa skill that we have, just so that we can start to explore what are some of the features, what are some of the challenges, how do you go about building, for example, how do you build an Alexa skill, what are the different, so there are like 2 components, we'll get into each of those. So first is obviously the skill side of it. So you'll go, so first, obviously, you need to have an account with Amazon, developer.amazon.com. And also, because I'm using the backend of the skill as AWS Lambda, then you also need to have an AWS account, right?
So AWS Lambda is the serverless functions of AWS, right?
Exactly. Okay. Yeah. So the cool thing about Alexa skills is that the backend comes with like native support for AWS Lambda. So by that, I mean, like, you know how serverless functions generally work, right? You need to like on certain event or at a certain time using like cron, expression, things like that. You can trigger a function to do a certain task, and that's it, right? So that actually fits in really well with the Alexa skill model. So what you'll have is that in order to invoke that Lambda function, when we get into that, you'll see that you can actually specify the Alexa skill as one of the triggers for that, which is actually pretty cool. So those are the 2 components. One is first, let's get into the skill, and then second, we'll do the Lambda function and like how do you tie the 2 together, right? So in order to, like I said, in order to create the skill first, actually, if anybody is like interested in following along, what you can actually do is go to our Twitter dev GitHub, and there's this folder, Twitter Alexa skill APL. So get the one with APL at the end, because that's the one that has like support for like display. And once you have that, like just do like code and maybe just download the zip, right? Then let's go. So yeah, like I said, you need an account with Amazon. So you'll go to the developer console for Alexa. So developer.amazon.com/Alexa console ask, right? Ask Alexa skill skit. And then I'll go and create a skill. So let's, for this stream, we'll call it, let's say Twitter sample, right?
Yeah,
and then there are different kinds of,
yeah. Do you happen to know, actually, I don't remember, is that free when you create your, like, for creating skills?
Skills is free, yeah.
Okay.
The only thing is that the function, obviously because it's on AWS, that costs. But again, if you have like a free tier, then most of the things are actually like you can get through in your free tier. So you know, right, when you like create an AWS account, you have certain things that are available in like the free tier. Certain time that your Lambda function runs or a call, I forget one of those. So those are free, and obviously creating a skill is definitely free. So
someone on chat is saying shout out to GitHub, which fair enough. Shout out to GitHub. Shout out to AWS as well.
For sure.
And someone is saying, Postman, send me a t-shirt. Well, if you want a t-shirt from us, we sometimes do giveaways on the stream. So like hang out at other streams or like join our events. We're giving SWAT every time. So
nice. Yeah. So next thing here is that you'll see that there are different kinds of skills, right? So we're going to select a custom skill, and custom skill means that you're going to define all of the logic for like what happens when you say, Alexa, give me a tweet about, for example, certain topic, or tell me what's trending in XYZ and things like that, right? But just for like the viewers, there are like other skills. So flash briefing is like a new skill. So when you ask like, Alexa, what's in the news, then you see something from CNN, things like that show up. Those are flash briefing. Now, obviously, there are like smart home skills where you like ask Alexa to turn your lights on and off, but we're going to use the custom skill, right? So I'm going to go ahead and create the skill. I'm just calling it Twitter sample for now. And now they give you like templates. So we can just go with the sample hello world template, because we're anyway going to replace the language model, right? So each Alexa skill.
They know you're streaming. Just checking. So yeah, I'm actually quite interested. I used to do that with the Watson conversation skills, and I tried a bit with Dialogflow as well. But I've never actually used the Alexa one. So I'm interested to see how you create your flow basically of the conversation. Is it just like one trigger that does something, or can you create a conversation?
Yeah. So you can. So there are a few things. Obviously, it's been close to a year since I don't work there anymore. But like you can imagine like there are like changes. Oh, actually, I made a mistake in this one, so we can redo this. But like I actually wanted to show you guys how to build with a without the Alexa hosted skill. So there are now Alexa gives you an option for what's called an Alexa hosted skill. So meaning that you don't have to go and like configure like your Lambda function yourself. Alexa does it or Amazon does it for you. It's pretty cool, but like I like the custom
the
like being able to like customize exactly. And then being able to like go to the logs myself and see things like that. So actually, let me go ahead and delete this, and we can try again.
I mean, I'm guessing that's like they're going where the trend goes, right? It's the whole like no code, low code thing. You want everything to be as accessible as possible.
So if you see here, provision your own.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. So that's actually like, especially for beginners, let's say you just wanted to like try a hello world skill or like a cat facts or something like that. You can actually go to, you can just use Alexa hosted one. But obviously, because I wanted to show the AWS side of it, then I selected provision your own, and hopefully this should work this time. Okay, perfect. And then I'm selecting that same template. So yeah, talking about the flow, the thing that you asked earlier. So the way that it works is that each Alexa skill, right, has a language model. So if I go to this code, you'll see here I have model, right? And so ENUS is basically the skill in US, because like I can have the same skill in India in like I think like the Hindi language, for example, or you can have it in like a different location based on the local language there. So the way that you specify your language model is using this like JSON. So like, for example, it has different components, like an invocation name. So for example, this tweet is called Tweet Buddy. So like it's basically the thing that you want to tell Alexa, like the name of the skill, right? So if you say Alexa open Tweet Buddy, then it knows that it has to go to your skill, right? Then we have two concepts, right? One is the concept of an intent, and then slots, right? Yeah. So intent is what you were talking about earlier. So let's say if I wanted to say like ask all the utterances about about the trend. So let's say what's trending in San Francisco, what's trending in LA, what's trending in Seattle. So all of those should get routed to the trend intent. And because I'm saying what's happening in followed by city name, so like in Seattle, Mumbai, things like that, then I use what's called a slot. So then you see here in curly brackets, there is this thing called city. Okay. So city is actually the slot, which will get changed. So anytime you might say San Francisco, I might say LA, Seattle, things like that. And based on that, that changes. And then
that's your variable, right? Like just assigning it the value. Yeah.
Exactly. And then similarly, I have one for a tweet. So like you can say, give me a tweet about XYZ. So what I did is I'm going to copy this language model again here, because I want to like just run it as is. Right. So if I go to actually, let's go to invocation. So let's change it to, let's call it Twitter sample. Now, if I go to, or actually, let me save it. And then interaction model, right? I can go to JSON editor, and let me close all of these.
Okay, so it comes with the default hello world.
Exactly. Yeah, because we selected that template. Ooh, what's gonna? Yeah. So then I can just like replace these, and I'll just call it, instead of calling it TweetBuddy, I'll call it Twitter sample, because that's the invocation name that I selected above. So if you see here again, like I already gave it some few values for the search term, just for to train the model. Like you can have different search terms. So like you can say, give me a tweet about Lakers, about Lamar Jackson, RG3, whatever you're interested in, and you can get those. So again, intents, and then each intent can have like slot, and then there are default intents as well, right? Like for example, fallback intent. So like if you say like if there's an error handling, then you'll go to fallback intent. If you said Alexa stop or cancel, so then you'll go to cancel intent stop.
So these are pre-trained, but you could add more samples. Is that what it means? That there's student
exactly.
array? Okay, cool.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. So like those are already trained for cancel, stop, things like that. Help one, right, and things like that. And so so while it builds, let's talk about the other side of it, right? So now we specify the language model that, okay, what should Alexa do if somebody asks for help, stop, or search, ask for a tweet, things like that. Then you need a backend to support it, right? So like, what should the skill do? So in order to do that, first, like if you're following along, just simply, like I said, download this zip, right? And there is this file. If you go into Lambda, the custom, and if you go to util, you'll see a Twitter service that I created. So in Twitter service, you'll see here that you have API key, API secret, access token, access secret, right? So these are coming from the Twitter API. Because remember, you want to connect to the Twitter API to get this information, right? To show, to like get the tweets. Now, maybe an advanced concept about Alexa, but like there is, some of you guys may have heard of this thing called account linking, right? So when you, let's say you want to connect your Uber skill. So you actually go and link your Uber and Uber account with this so that you know that, okay, you're connected to your account. So next time you say, Alexa, get me Uber or something like that, you know that it's your account, things like that. Same way, Twitter also has account linking, but this one is like, because I'm not like focusing on the account linking flow, I'm specifically like, this will only work for you guys' accounts. So because you're using your API key, API secret. And the way to get those is if you go here to your developer portal, right? And if you go under, let's say or you can even go to your apps, or actually I deleted my apps. But
are you about to show some credentials, just so I know?
No. I was just gonna like check. I actually deleted all my apps, but like from your app, and we'll get to it when we get to your part. But essentially, you get those from your developer portal, and then you replace that in your Twitter service file. And then finally, because it's a Java project, then you'll have to go ahead and build it. So I think I had the instructions here. So it's if you guys are familiar with Maven, it's a Maven project. So I'm going to copy this, and I'm just going to build this package. So what it's doing is it's building this package for me that I can then stick in on my Java function or my Lambda function, and then I'll connect it to my Alexa skill. Okay, so I think this is already built by now. So if I go to actually interfaces, right? Now, if you see in interfaces, there's Alexa presentation language. So I'm going to enable that. I forgot to do this earlier, so I have to build it again. But like, so what that will do is that now things that are devices that like this one, like the Echo, Show, and Screen devices, then you can now see those because the APL interface is enabled for that.
Does it basically just write down what it would pronounce if you were with like a voice one? Or is it
so we actually see that.
Okay.
Exactly. We'll actually get to it. But like it actually, so what I have done is like it'll show and speak both, which is pretty cool because that's what I wanted it to do. So let's create a new function. Let's call it, oops. Oh, I'm going to want that. So let's create a new function. I'll call it Twitter API v2, right? And I'll select Java 8 as my runtime. And I'll create a function. Now, all the instructions, like if you guys are not following along right now, that's totally fine. The instructions are here. So it says that you create this jar file that I just created with the Maven step. And then I need to upload that here. So I'll go here. And in my actions, I can find that file. If I go to, this is the one. Forward go. Wait, why didn't it build it? Which one am I on? Hold on.
I think you did build it, yeah.
So I am in, downloads, Yeah, I'm in the right one. Weird. Doesn't show it here, right?
Is there a thing where you need to say which type of file you need to show?
Actually, let me see if I'm in. So it's in downloads.
Oh, yeah. No, that's the one. Oh, no, it's AP. It is APL master. Interesting.
Yeah, I know what's going on.
Did it build it and save it in a subfolder? Can you?
Should actually build it in this one, the same one. Let's see.
Okay, it feels like he's doing more stuff, but I forgot to check the chat. Hey Sneebo, hey Hannah. Hannah saying, "What you're doing is so great, and this is so fun." Thank you.
A weird thing is that it actually shows the target folder here, right? You see the target. So if I do see the target, that actually should have it. Yeah, you see.
So can you do open here? Just
I see what's going on. So it's it's in my
wait, yep.
Trash. So actually, let me do downloads and then Twitter. Yep. Okay. So let's try this time now. That was awkward.
Yeah. Okay. That looks better.
Yep. Yeah. So now we can take this one. So if I click this one, you see it's like 12 MB.
Yep.
So with all the dependencies.
Wasn't there a 10 megabyte? Okay. So it's just a warning that says like over 10 megabyte, consider like using S3.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, we don't care about warnings. It's fine. Just upload it anyway.
And so a few things to keep in mind, right, while that's uploading. So you obviously have to specify what will be the handler for that Lambda function. So I already have the file name defined. So the way that it looks in code is if I go to stream handler, you'll see here that this is actually the one. So tweet buddy stream handler. So we can actually, once this is done uploading, we can specify what the handler to use. If I go here, you see here it says example hello request. I'll set this, and this one is important 512 because it's Java, right? It requires like more like it might have like cold start problem, things like that. So you specify that.
Yeah.
And I'll save this, and then obviously there's another one more step to go is we have to add the trigger. So this is what I was talking about that earlier. That one of the good things is that you can specify directly which Alexa, like to use Alexa skill as the trigger. So if I go to endpoint, here I can copy the skill ID. Okay, so I'll say that, okay, this is my trigger. So now it's set up. Now the only thing is that I want to also tell my Alexa skill which Lambda function to use. So I'm telling it to use this Lambda function.
Yeah, so you have to do like a two-way connection.
Exactly.
Like you can't only say to one that this is what's going to trigger it, or to say to like Alexa that this is what is going to trigger. You need both of them to be linked.
Exactly. Yeah. So hopefully now I think it should work. Let me test it real quick. If you don't have any issues. So then so there are a few ways you can test it out. Obviously, you can test it on your device. You can say like Alexa, do such such, or the developer console actually has this test. So if you go to the Ask console test and you enable the development version of the skill, because there are different versions. There's a live version of the skill, then there's like a dev version of the skill. So this is like because it's not published yet. Because remember, if you want like a skill to like be appear in that Alexa skill store, you have to publish it. But because it's a demo, we'll just stick to the dev version. So I'll do open, I think that's Twitter sample. And then here, also cool thing is that now you can like see which device you want to render it on. So like if I wanted to see what it looks like on a small Echo Show, what should I do and things like that. So you guys able to hear the audio?
Sorry,
no, right?
Say it again.
Are you guys able to hear the audio?
I think I can put your audio actually. Let me see.
Because what's going on is now when I do open Twitter sample, it's actually Alexa's reading this to me. So I don't know if our viewers are able to listen to that as well. But
Actually don't know if Skype shares that. I think it just shares your voice twice. So yeah, we'll trust you.
Okay, yeah. So now Alexa says, okay, welcome to TweetBuddy. Obviously, I renamed it Twitter Simple. And so you can ask, so there are two things. So two things in play in this skill. So if I go into the actual Twitter service, right? And we can walk through how the code is structured real fast. But even before that, I wanted to show the two functionalities that it's supporting right now. One is getting trends, right? Because remember, the new API, the Twitter API v2 doesn't support trends yet. Hopefully we'll have it at some point because we want to like make sure that all endpoints are also supported. But right now, because it doesn't support, so this is actually a popular thing, right? When you ask Alexa what's trending, or like you can see what's trending around and things like that. And then the other one is like give me tweets about something, right? So let's test both of those. So let's say if I say what's trending in Seattle.
Okay, the usual.
Yeah. Okay. So Alexa was like basically like saying, if you see here, this is exactly what Alexa said.
We could hear it a little bit. I think your mic is picking like some stuff from your. But it was like very very like little.
I see. So then these are like obviously what's trending in Seattle, and you can see the visual components. Like let's say Alexa didn't have APL, so obviously it would be without the screen. But now because we have the APL, it's like really nice that you can see, right? And then obviously the other thing was give me tweets about. So let's say give me or tweets about Lakers. That's my team. So
yeah, you keep talking about them. I was like, the Lakers. Why the Lakers though?
Lakers actually my team because I used to like Kobe Bryant a lot. Like I used to like try and imitate him growing up as a kid. So you see now it actually shows the.
Okay. So and if you scroll down on the left, does it actually say, or does it only show in the dialogue bit? Okay, it just shows, right? It's just a visual part.
Yep.
Okay, that's cool. And actually, I've never used the how do you call it, the Echo Show or the Alexa Show thing. Is it black and white, or is it just like a color screen like any other device?
Yeah, it's color, and I think now they've become more advanced now, so they even support. I think like I don't know, like I saw recently something about like HTML support and things like that. So it's like obviously much better now. But it's like a legit. It's like your phone, man. It's actually pretty.
So Declan is asking, does it display images if you said give me tweets about cats?
Actually, yes. Not this skill, but like hopefully maybe we can do another stream where we'll actually incorporate that. Yeah. So because remember now with the Twitter API v2, you have that has images operator, right? So what you and maybe when we do your part on like using Postman for that, we can actually show that. So you can actually get exactly. So you can actually do that. Ask for images and then do a slideshow. So actually, let's discuss like some of the components that we see on the screen, right, before talking about V2. So one is obviously, if you see this image is actually coming from the Twitter API. This name is coming from Twitter API. This handle is coming from Twitter API. And obviously, the entire tweet is coming from Twitter API. So obviously, if you ask for like images, so you can actually do a check on that image and like display. And this thing that like what I'm using here is actually a pager. It's called like a type of component for APL. It's called a pager. If you see here in the response, right? And we'll get into the code as well. So you'll see that, where'd it go?
So that's the input, right? That's what you're sending to.
Yeah, exactly. So like here, this is a request that goes to the device. We're more interested in the response, right? So if you see here, it's actually a pager. So the pager is basically where you see the multiple views, like Alexa showed you one tweet with the image, text, and everything, and then it paged to the other one, right? Went to the other one. And so we like in my skill, for a demo, I only put in like 3 tweets. So the way that it works is obviously here, if you look at viewport, hub, landscape, small. So this basically means that it's checking if it's, so you can actually have different experiences on a TV versus something that's small, right? So because it's like a hub, landscape, small, so obviously it'll render differently. On a TV, you might want to like have some like maybe a bigger picture, things like that. And all of those like you can specify in the page. So like within the like if you look at the image itself, you'll see, or let me scroll down. Yeah, so that's actually a container within a container. You have images and all those things. Obviously, I don't want to get too Alexa specific, but like it's just good to point out that two things, right? One is that for people that want to try it out themselves, right, when they clone it, you'll see that I predefined the templates for you. So if you want to like play around, like the person asked, like, can you get like tweets about cats? Yes, for sure. You can like make those updates to like include just an image as well, no problem. And then like one other thing that I want to point out is the actual, let's look at the actual code real quick, right? So yeah, so a few components. First, obviously, we discussed the handler itself. And within the handler, you add different additional handlers. Like what do you do when you launch the skill? What do you do when somebody, actually, let's look at an example, right? Let's look at a launch handler. What's in there? So like if somebody launches a skill, what happens? So you say, welcome to TweetBuddy, and like you instruct them on like what are the options or like things that they can ask and things like that. And then if you look at this, I actually have an Alexa, so here, get 5 content on string. So here I have like different predefined templates for you. So here, otherwise, like you can always build it on the go, but with Java, I generally prefer this because JSON, with like the node skill is super easy. You can just like pull it in as needed, update and things. With Java, you have to like deserialize and all of that. So for that reason, I just made one for everybody to just use, right? So those are the APL specific things. So like, how do you display the trends? So here, if I'm checking that if it's a hub landscape, so meaning like if I'm checking if it's an echo, show the small one, then show the text, show the location, first trend, second trend, all those things. So you can just use that. And then two other things that I want to talk about quickly is one is the Twitter service itself, right? So obviously here, because I'm using my, I won't go beyond this because it has my keys and everything, but if you, yeah, so this much. What you'll need to do is obviously you'll replace those keys here, and then two functions. One is to get the trends, and one is to get the actual tweets based on the search term. And then there's this obviously skill data that includes, because you know, right, for the trend, you need to look up by a where on earth ID thing. So that's why I pre-populated a map for people to test out. So if you ask for like now,
I was actually going to give you like random locations. So I'm glad like, you showed that before.
Yeah. And then obviously, the one thing that I was talking in the earlier is that, oh yeah, about the speech thing, right? So there are two different things. If you, like I mentioned, that if you go back to this guy, like if this were to have like some like quotes and things like that, then like we still want to display the text as is, because like it's your tweet, you made the tweet, so the display has to be the same. But like because Alexa's saying it, like I have to do that custom processing of like stripping off empty spaces and quotes, otherwise it'll keep. And you'll see that once we get to the V2, because I actually haven't like we need to like spend more time. Might be out of scope for this stream, but you have to actually go and do the filtering and things like that to cut out the empty spaces and noises.
That makes me think of like that. There was that trend, right? Like where you would post two pictures in your tweet, and then you have like a bunch of text on the left, which is you can't get me at my this if you don't want to get me at that. Like I wonder how that would read, because it's like it's obviously like nothing is on the right line. So yeah, that would be fun to see.
Yep. So now what we can do is actually, yeah, so that's pretty much it. So again, for if somebody didn't get a chance to try it out with me in this live stream, no problem. Simply just go to, first make sure you have a Twitter developer account, you have an app, because you'll need your keys and token. Obviously, you also need AWS and Alexa accounts. But then just go to our GitHub, Twitter dev / Twitter Alexa skill APL, and then just simply download this. Literally, just download this zip. Just make that one change that is in all these instructions list that, but literally just this Twitter service file, replace your keys, and then obviously build it with Maven and upload it to the Lambda function, and you'll have a working skill. What we can do now is actually, so what we'll do now, or at least we'll try to do it in the time that we have, is because obviously V2 doesn't support trends, so we'll leave the trends as is. But like what we can do is we can replace this with the new endpoint. So instead of hitting the V1.1 using this SDK, so I'm using Twitter for, and then instead of using Twitter for J, I'll use this is my own code that I write for the V2. But before that, actually, it'll be nice to talk about how to use the V2, right? Because the thing is that at the end of the day, look, if you look at this tweet here, we literally, the only things that we need from a tweet in order to get this exact same thing is the image URL. So 1, name, 2, 3 is the username, and then 4 is the text. So literally, if you can get 1, 2, 3, 4 things, then we're set, right? And so actually, the Twitter API, the V2 makes it easy to like specify to like get specific fields back. So maybe we can take a look at how we can get those 4 fields out of.
Let's see. Let's see if I can do that. I don't know. We see that. So let me. I'll share my screen. So I got corrected in the chat in the meantime. Alejo said the thing was, if you don't deserve me at my X if you can't handle me at my Y. Yeah, that's the one. Okay, so hopefully everyone's seeing my screen, and that's the Postman app, and we get started from not Postman actually. I'll go to Twitter developer. So let's go. So I've had a Twitter developer account for a while, 4 years, but you were telling me that I need to kind of apply to get access to V2, right? So I'm on my account here. I'll go to developer portal, and here.
So if you notice there at the top, it says that the early access is here. So just like so that people understand, because there's no confusion about the new API, right? It's basically like early access, meaning like you might say that, okay, I see that there are like tweet caps or things like that for this new endpoint. That's simply because we want you to like test it out, like test out the new APIs or the new endpoints, that are part of the new API, and like learn about them, get comfortable with them, provide us feedback and things like that. So so first you obviously need to like enroll in the new things that you.
What if they don't accept me? Is it the end of the stream? Okay, so apparently that's all I need to do. So start it. Ground control is telling me it's permanent, so I'm gonna lose everything I had before. I don't think I had. I probably should have checked before, but I'll just go for it. I probably have like a couple of apps that are running, but I guess I'm losing them. That's fine. I don't mind.
Actually, so you're not losing anything. It's just that it's basically telling you that you're going into the new port. So next time when you launch developer.twitter.com, you'll get this enhanced. I mean, I'll take this new enhanced experience. It's actually pretty nice. You're not losing out on anything. Yeah.
Welcome to my new dashboard. I'll skip because I've got someone from Twitter that can just lead me through the things. If you don't have Suhaim with you on the stream while you do that, I just read through it. Okay, so I'm here. Is it like previous? When I say previous, it's just the previous version, because a while ago you didn't even have to create an app, I think, but now, so it says create a project. So I guess do you have to do that?
Yeah, so you did have to create an app, obviously, because otherwise you don't get your keys. But this Twitter V2 actually comes with a new concept of projects, right?
Okay.
So in order to use a V2 endpoint, you need to have a new project and then you have to connect an app to it. So like you can create a project. You can
Alexa Twitter stream.
Yep.
Okay. Use case. Oof. I guess exploring the API is a good use case for what we're going to do now. Product description, using the API to show what you can build with it.
Yep.
On stream. Okay, so these are my previous apps.
So you can either use an existing app, or you can create a new one.
I'll go and create a new one. We call it Twitter stream. Okay. It's already taken. No way. Okay. When I click complete, is it going to show my credentials straight away?
Yeah.
Okay, so should I hide it? Okay, so I will put the secret shield. Anyone on the stream, now all you're going to see is just a big thing with which says secrets.
Actually, we see your
no, so you can see them because I'm sharing my screen with you.
I see.
People on stream.
So in the meantime, on the chat, somebody is mentioning about a replicating a cat,
Katsu cat.
some experience. Is that like an app on or like a bot on
Good question. I think
on
that's,
Twitter?
if I get it from what they were saying earlier, that's something that they were trying to do, or it's a feature that we're trying to do.
Oh, I see.
But I'm not aware of it. So I'll copy paste that somewhere, right, on the side.
Yeah, the three of those. Yeah.
Okay, so let me just open a code on the side. Put them here. So API key.
Oh, so you tweet to that and you get the cat pic? I'm gonna try it out.
API secret and bearer token. Okay, so I'll go back to my projects and I'll remove the secret shield. Okay, so what we did in the background, we've created some credentials that were given away. I've copied them on the side. Now I have them. You can't see them, but I guess I could.
Yep.
Okay, I could see them if I click here. So that's my app, and I think that's all I need right now. I can go into Postman and start creating the API.
Yeah. So you already added those to your Postman?
Not yet. So
okay. Yeah.
I'll show everyone how you can get to call it. So you don't want to. Obviously, I could start from like a blank page and get all the details of the API, but turns out Suez team has created stuff for us, so you can just go in new API network tab here. So this one, and there's a Twitter, and they've created all the calls for you. So I'll just click run in Postman, and it imports it for me, and I'll have a collection here called Twitter API v2. So that's the previous collection, and you can still access it. So that's if you're not yet in the v2 experience, you can still call that API, but that's the one we're going to use. So Twitter API v2, and so in the skill we want to do recent search, I guess. No, what are we doing?
Exactly.
Okay,
yeah, we can use recent search, right? Because like the way that we want it to work is like somebody will say, give me tweets about Lakers, and then like so the search term that we will end up using will be Lakers. But yeah.
So what we saw is that when we imported that, actually one of the toasts that was bottom right that I removed is that it also imported an environment. So I should have a Twitter API v2 environment here, and I'll go ahead and edit it, and that's where I'm gonna paste my credentials that I got earlier. So again, bear with me with a second. I'll just put the secret shield on, and I'll copy paste. So I need the API key to go. Oh, is it consumer key then?
Yeah, consumer key, secret, and bearer token.
Consumer key, secret is this one, and bearer token.
So bearer token is the last one.
Yeah, I just think, okay. And I don't need to change the other ones. I can leave them like this.
Yeah, because like the recent search, you're just using the app auth, so you should be okay.
Okay, so I've edited stuff. I'm not going to show it, but now in the environment, there's these news values, and I'm guessing if I go in, so which type of authorization it is actually? Is it set up at the collection level?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's like it's using your bearer token.
Okay. So if I go in here, I'm guessing if I go authorization, they would appear here. So again, these are variables. If I hover on them, it's going to show. So I'm not going to do it, but yeah, that's what it is being used like throughout all the requests in that collection. So here I am. So I've got all my parameters to the API, and I can see required. So that's my query. And here I'm guessing if I type in Celtics, for example, because why not?
Okay, sure.
Unauthorized. That's not what you like to see. Why?
Yeah.
Okay. So what am I missing? It says 401. I must have missed something on the authentication side. Do you have any idea? Why?
I actually don't. I generally use my own auth. So in headers, I just add authorization, and then I add bearer token space that.
So I'll do bearer token. Oop, actually, it doesn't look right. So do you just want me to put bearer and then my bearer token?
Yeah. So no. The way that I do it is in like headers. So
directly.
I guess here that should work too.
I mean, yeah, I can do it here, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
You can do authorization,
and then here. So you bearer and then my bearer token. Okay, I'm gonna put the secret shield, paste it. Okay, and go back to parents. See, oh, didn't authorize.
Oh boy.
Oh boy. It's fine. It's what happens when you stream. So let us do some debugging. I'm sorry for people on the stream. We can't obviously show the credentials while we debug, but you'll see at our faces that we are like hardly trying to understand what's happening. So let's go to here and keys and token. I'll regenerate it and copy it directly from here, and I'll paste it in my authorization here. Okay, and is it just like trying? Okay.
Oh yeah.
All right.
Okay.
We found it. So the issue was that I've added my bearer token to headers, but I didn't tick no auth here. So it was just still trying to use the one that is coming from the collection. So now in the authorization, I'm not using any auth. So it's going to use the one from the headers. And when I query, I see all the good results about the Celtics, like rare double, etc., everything that we like. Okay. Now what?
So actually, so let's actually, even before that, I want to like take a step back and like point out one good thing that I really love about Postman when exploring Twitter APIs, any APIs in general, but specifically for Twitter API that saves me so much time, is in the descriptions, right? For each field, each parameter, it tells you what the possible values are. So if you click on the like description for let's say expansion, so if you scroll down a little bit,
this one,
expansions, right? So you'll see, scroll down a little bit, and then you'll see the possible values. You see attachment, poll ID, things like that, which is super awesome because like then I can like pick and choose and like experiment as much as I want. And so for the context for the Alexa skill, as we mentioned, we were looking for 4 things: the tweet itself, right? Mm-hmm. And then we want the user's like image, the profile URL image, the name and the username, right? So obviously, if you've used the old tweet payload, right, with 1.1, you get everything in that one single object. There's a user object, and you get all that. But now with the new payload, it's slightly different, right? So the way that this will work is that actually, if you click on, if you scroll down and you see tweet fields, so click on. And then now, so if you scroll up, if you look at the response, right now it only includes ID and text, right? The tweet ID and the text itself. But we also want to be able to like look up on the author ID. So so if you can add that field for the tweet fields.
Tweet fields.
And then if you possible values for tweet fields on your.
It says.
So there should be one author ID. Yeah, the second one, author ID, right? So maybe we can use that.
Okay, so I'll get author ID, and they all like come as priority value. Okay, so author ID. What else do we need?
For now, let's try this and see what happens, right? So let's run. So obviously here you see that there are like certain responses with the author ID itself. Now next you want, so if you notice one thing at the top, it says data, right? So the way that the new payload works is that you have a data object, and then you have one thing called includes, and include that will have any additional things that you want. So like user information can be, now we support polls, so poll information will be on it, and amongst other things, right? So now obviously we want to get that the user object as well. So for that, if you have to do that expansion, so use the expansion parameter, and then you'll specify what do you want to expand on. So again, if you'll see here, there's author ID.
Yep. So same.
So we can use that as the expansion. And then now let's see what you get by default for the author. So now if you collapse the data object, you'll see an includes object. Yeah, in that you see users. So now for users, we already have ID, name, and username, right? So literally the only other, like 2 other things that we need is like location, so like where they're from, and then the other thing would be the profile URL. So the way that you'll do it is in your user fields. If you scroll down, user field.
The last one.
Then you specify which extra ones you're looking for.
So you want location.
Yep.
And profile image URL.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay, so those 2. So that's a good thing. So actually think about it like that. that's actually a good one because now you're not like storing information that you probably don't even need.
So I think Declan is trying to figure out if they were just too successful that they couldn't call their service anymore. Yeah, that's the I don't remember how you call that in English, but it's like victim of your own success, right?
I actually don't know what's going on.
Jedison is just asking for us to show secrets because that's what we usually do. Not today. Today we're not showing. Okay, so if I collapse data again, I'm seeing more stuff, and
exactly.
And that would be obviously that's not what I want to do. That would be the direct image. So that's the Twitter profile picture. Cool. All right.
Yep. So essentially, like if you get this information, then you're good to like make that change in the new Alexa skill to support the new API.
Yeah. So I'm guessing there would be. So as of now, is it a strict match? Like if I get the sales 0 of data, then is it going to be sales 0 of users for, or do I need to do a match?
So you have to do a lookup. Yeah, you have to do a lookup. You have to do a look. So that's actually one of the things with the new API is that you actually need to do that lookup yourself. And when we get into the code, you'll see that. I mean, you actually have to do that ON like lookup, which is like I understand.
That's fine.
Like
the challenge. I couldn't remember how to do it in Java, but I know in JavaScript that would be easy.
Exactly. That's because it's Java. So.
Why did you choose Java? Like, I don't know.
Man, because I was actually a Java developer. So like when I was like working on like APIs and things like that, I used to like just like build purely on Java, so that just like stayed with me.
Yeah, that's the usual, like the typical, like you've been in a role where you're using like Java a lot, like enterprise and stuff, and then you just stick to it.
Even though it's like so like you need to write so much code, I feel like it'll take me more time to like write like something in Java than in Python. Not because like it's even if it has like 5 times more the syntax, simply because of like habit sometimes. But yeah, that's the only reason.
Okay, so we're going to switch back to you so you can show us how to like use that endpoint. One thing that I want to show before, and I'm actually not sure to which extent we could use that, but we have code generation in Postman. So if I were to like use that call directly, what I can do is just go in code here, and we have Java somewhere. So we have OKHTTP, which I guess is a like client library for calling, like doing HTTP calls in Java. And I could just copy paste that in my Java program, or if I'm using UniRest, I can do that. Actually, is there a? Let's see. No, okay. So it's the 2 ones that we have for Java. So you could do that. Obviously, I'm doing that on my machine, and I think you've already like got some code ready. So we're not going to use that today. Actually, but that's one thing.
To save time.
Yeah, that's one. I always show it because that's one of the. I think we are one of the best companies
that's actually pretty cool.
At hiding the cool features, you know. So yeah, it's there. If people want to use code generation, it's right there. You just click on code and you can see like all the. We don't only have Java. We have like Ruby, Shell, Swift. Not you name it. But we have plenty. As well. Yeah, we do have Python. Yeah.
Nice. That's good. I also like that you guys have like multiple options for like you guys also have the UniRest, because that's the one that I used to use a lot. But
we keep adding based on feature, like on user requests. We just added Axios because that's one of the. Do we have Golang? Oh yeah, we do have Golang. Someone was taking on. Yeah, we have Golang as well. Okay, cool. Do you want to share your screen back?
Yep. Yeah, I'll share my screen, and I let's see where it go. Let me know if you're able to see it.
Okay, I can see it, and the chat can see it. Cool.
Sweet. Yeah. So what I did is I replaced this method with like a new method that I just like put together.
Did you write all this while I was sharing? That's a lot of code.
Actually, I wrote a little like earlier, but like we can walk through this a little. Actually, I realized that I didn't add the tweet object, so maybe I can like add that. But essentially, what I'm doing is now I'm making that call, and as you pointed out, right? You know how you had the call itself.
Okay.
So I'm using the Apache HTTP. So it's essentially making the same call that we did there, right? So if you look at this is the call to the V2 of the Twitter API, obviously, it's recent at the end basically tells me that it's recent search that I'm specifying. And so a few things I already specified. So like I only want tweets in English for this. And then this is retweet is basically removing retweets for me. So these are actually good because then you're getting like the original, the actual tweet. Again, before like I get into the implementation, one thing to point out is that with the new API, right, we actually have more things to search. If let me zoom in a little bit. Yeah. So this is actually the search query. Obviously here, I'm just like replacing with the search string, but these are different operators, right? Like the lang operator is retweet operator. Now we have one called context and one for entity. So those are actually pretty powerful because let's say you wanted to get a tweet about, I don't know, about, let's say, so actually, let's take the Lakers example, right? Let's say you have a tweet about like LeBron James, like, you know, in the last game against the Rockets, he had that like fancy like block and things like that. Let's say the tweet actually doesn't include the word Lakers, but you know that contextually it's about the Lakers. So meaning like somebody's talking about LeBron James blocked somebody else. So obviously it means that contextually is part of the Lakers game. So actually you can use the entity operator and specify the entity itself. So like you want tweets about the entity Lakers, which is actually pretty powerful because now you actually get tweets that are contextually about the Lakers that might not include the search term.
So is that like pre-trained by Twitter? Is that like your own search model? How does that work?
Yeah, so it's like it's Twitter's internal topic modeling. You can think of it that way. So like you don't have to do the custom topic modeling yourself. And like named entity extraction. So that's a good one. And obviously having that in search is pretty powerful. So anyway, I can get to, so yeah, that's one thing to check out. If you go to, actually, let me point you guys to that before we forget. You look at the documentation, developer.twitter.com. And if you go to docs.
Yeah, that's actually super useful now that I think of it. Because like, I know one of the things that I do, like for my job, I do like community, like, how do you call that? So I check what people are saying about APIs in general, but like I have TweetDeck and it's set up with, I need to have like very specific filters, right? And it's going to be like Postman and API minus, because like obviously Postman is such a widespread used, like widely used word. So that's, that's very cool.
That's really cool. Yeah, actually, that's why if you see here in the fundamental section, we actually talk about it in detail. So if you look at tweet annotations, so this is what I was talking about, right? So these are the different like contexts that you can look for. So if you wanted, actually one thing that like many like researchers also ask, right? Like what if I want tweets about a certain like politician, about a certain sports team person? So you can actually use these and then get that information. So if you see, this is the object, the response will include things like this. So like, let's say a tweet was about like the New Year. So it will actually have that named entity, New Year's Eve, among other things, right? So it's actually pretty cool about a brand, like Twitter itself and things like that. So that's powerful. One thing to consider. And obviously, second thing is that if you wanted to use that in a search, then you can use it in, if you go to tweets and recent search. And yeah, here. So you can, or where'd it go? Quick start. I think it's an integrate. But yeah, essentially you can use that as one of the operators. So it lists here different operators that you can use. So you can search like from an account to an account.
Yeah, I saw a lot of mentions of memes on that page.
Yeah. So yeah, like if somebody wanted, like the person talking about the cat images, then obviously you can do has images, and the keyword will be cat, so you'll get an image about a cat. Anyway, going back, so let's complete this one. So obviously what I did here is now I'm making that call, and the good thing about the new Twitter API, I'm only specifying the fields that I want. So I'm saying that the expansion should be on the author ID, specifying maximum results, and the user fields. The only thing that I want is location, image URL, and then yeah, that's pretty much it. And then I forgot to add the tweet class. Let me add that real quick in the util. Or I do new class.
You have Daniele on the Twitch chat saying he wants to take full credit for creating the cat memes example in the docs. Fair enough. I was going to ask if Suhim brought it, but good to know that's you.
Yep. So I'll add the four things that we need. So we need a text field. We need the name. We need the username. Oops. Actually, I can just leave it like that. And then the other thing that we need is the location and the URL.
Yeah.
Location. Whoops.
We could turn that stream into an ASMR/keyboard stream.
Yeah, it's actually like one of those like clicky keyboards.
Yeah.
I used to use that a lot at my previous job, but like nobody, thankfully, was like angry for the sound.
Yeah, we've like obviously we've had both like me and my girlfriend starting working from home, and she has like this Razer here. It's so loud. And I also have one.
Oh,
and
yeah?
it gets very loud in that room.
I see. Yeah, so I'm actually using IntelliJ, so I'm just gonna go ahead and like auto create the getter setters for me, and then I can also create the constructor. So I need the text, name, username, location, profile. Okay. Right. So I created the constructor, and then I think I should be okay in my or go. Twitter service. Yeah. If I go into one of these, get data, so it's actually looking into, we have two different areas, data users, and then it's pulling out the username, profile.
And that's where it's doing the match, right? Like you're checking. So what are you checking on?
Yeah. So I'm actually checking that if that author ID exists in that. So I'm actually looking through that, and based on that, I'm assigning it that object. Actually, if I go here, where'd go? Where'd go? Or
what are you looking for?
The skill data. Oh, where I'm like actually adding it.
Oh.
So yeah, you can get tweets. So let's go into get tweets. Oh yeah, here. So I'm actually checking that for the user, add the username, the profile image URL, and things like that. I'm gonna go ahead and build this thing again, and then I think we should be able to see it. We might run into some issues with like the image, but that's fine. We can hopefully at least get to this point for this stream, right? So I built a new jar.
Okay, so you have to update that again, like upload it on. Actually,
there's like better ways of doing this than or directly each time going into here. Like you can use the command line or the cloud development kit for that, and then just upload that. But for now, to save time, it's at 12:08, so it should be this one. And yeah, so while it's uploading, let's go back to the code real quick. So yeah, again, if let's say you wanted to show polls on your Alexa device, right? So let's say there are like certain polls that you want shown visually on your Alexa device, then you can actually specify the poll fields parameter expansion for that, and then get that data back. And essentially same thing, right? Map it back to like a tweet object. Because if you notice here, if I look at the old one, right? Because I was using Twitter for J, it was actually using statuses. Because you remember, like in the past, like the naming people were using for it was like status, and there's a difference between like and like favorite. So people were calling it favorite. Now we have like the proper naming for like likes and things like that. So you can actually create your own. Actually, one person I came across, I can share a link maybe after this, but he actually made an SDK for Java or like a library for the V2. So like you don't have to do all of these like silly things that I'm doing in terms of like building or making the API calls myself and things like that. You can simply do like use the library, and based on that you can get the data back from the new API. So I think this is
I'm guessing from the just going back to you talking about the polls. I'm guessing you have one of the parameter, which is whether the poll is finished or not, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I would probably
the status current.
Yeah, I would create a service that just like checks for random open polls on Twitter and just asks me questions throughout the day, and then I can just like reply to that. That would keep me busy.
Yeah. So it gives you the voting options. It gives you, I think, like whether the poll ended or no, and when was it ended, things like that.
Can
Oh
you
yeah.
can
So
you
this is actually the
vote
yeah.
through the API? Last question. Can you vote through the API?
No. You
Damn.
can't. Yeah. I'm pretty sure you can't. You can only like we get the data about
Okay,
the
fair,
yeah
fair.
yeah. Maybe hopefully at some point. Who knows? But yeah. So this is a SDK that I was talking about, or the library. Like it's called Twitter Red. This actually supports all of these. Like, so you instantiate your client, and then you just like, for example, if I wanted to like search, you can like search using this. It's actually pretty cool. Okay, let's conclude this. So if I go here, actually, let me test.
Jessica is letting me know that I can't vote through the post feature.
Yeah, not at this time. Okay, so let's use.
Okay. So it's going to show the exact same thing, right? It should show the exact same thing.
Exactly. But it's gonna get it from like
Yeah.
the new.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like
endpoint.
it's transparent to us. Like we're using a new endpoint. Like the end user won't see the difference because we're getting the same data, but from the new endpoint.
Yep. So yeah, that's what I had. Again, a few things to keep in mind is obviously check out the new where to go. Oh yeah, the documentation is under. If you go to developer.twitter.com under docs, you will see in Twitter API. And then here, like we list the V2, which is the new one. So obviously fundamentals has like new things. What are the annotation, things like that. And then the different endpoints for getting tweets and users. So obviously recent search is the one that we use, but there are additional ones like if you continuously want to like stream for tweets, then you'd use something like a filtered stream, sample stream. And then obviously, as the person asked in the beginning, if you have questions, go to Twitter community and yeah, ask us. We're always happy to answer that you guys may have. And yeah, those are like that's just like a use case of like how people can use the Twitter API on an Alexa device. Obviously, like I said, other things that can be that people can think. Maybe like right now, obviously we don't have like support for the actual endpoints where you like create a tweet and things like that. But like,
I mean that's fine, right? Like that's experimental. You don't expect that to be like fully.
Yep.
But yeah, so Jessica let me know that I should put a feeder request. I will expect me to post there because I love posting feeder requests. So I'll do that. Thank you. Yeah, so I'm guessing like obviously now the next step would be first on the Twitter side, like you want that V2 to be at the same level at least or better than V1. And then on your side, on the Alexa skill, is it just a demo skill that you have, or is it like anyone can use it?
No, this is just demo. So like I said, right? So actually, because like I mentioned, because like you actually need to link your Twitter account in order to use the actual one, right? The actual Twitter skill.
Okay.
So this is like more like a demo. This is for people that are like developers that want to experiment and learn how to use both like Twitter APIs. I always like to like showcase multiple things. So like how you could use Twitter API with X, right? So in this case, obviously with Alexa, how you can like use it. So it's more like for demo to like where people can learn how to use the Twitter API as well as like understand Alexa skills. Because even now, not a lot of people are like that aware of like Alexa. Similarly, right? Not a lot of people are aware of the new Twitter API, for example. Like people, people still think that like there's nothing new in the new API. That's actually not the case, right? There are like some really good features, new endpoints that are part of it that people can actually start using. And obviously, if they have any questions, they can always reach out to us.
I can very strongly relate to that when like we release every 2 weeks, and letting people know about everything that is out is just like, yeah, it's tough. Like letting that people know that we have new stuff that is cool to use. So
I actually didn't know about this code thing because I used to only use the curl, but like for some reason I never went and I actually didn't take a the time to look at the Java stuff because
And
I'm actually
this has
curious
been
to
there
try the
for
uni restaurant.
like this has been there for a year and a half now, I think. So let me see. Someone's asking if it's going to be available to rewatch later. Yes, all these streams are posted on our YouTube channel. It's Postman API development, I think. So as of tomorrow, I think you'll be able to rewatch that if you've missed some stuff. And we'll add chapters to make it easy to jump from one place to the other. Should be nice. Jessica is asking that if, shout out to everyone. I don't know, because not everyone sees the chat. If seeing this stream inspire you to like create anything, you can reach out to Twitter on TwitterDev or on the community forum. And Shabli is saying, hey. So sorry you're joining. If you're just joining, you're joining a bit late. It's the end of the stream. But as I was saying earlier, this is going to be reposted on our YouTube channel. So before we leave, what we do a thing called community shoutout. So is there anyone in the Twitter community or in like from any community that you want to give a shout out to?
Yeah, so I'll actually give a shout out to the person who wrote the library for the new endpoints. So like I said, I can share the link as well.
If you can drop it.
The person's name is Ridwan. Yeah. And the library is called Twitter. I think it's Twitter Red. He actually did a good job with the library, so I'm actually excited to like see, and hopefully like maybe at some point we can do a different stream that actually uses that library and not just right, because like I never liked if there's a library, I will never go to writing like my own HTTP calls and like doing the POJO mapping and all of those things. So he actually made it easy. So shout out to Ridwan.
Yep, good stuff. On my side, I'm actually going to share my screen quickly. That's a shout out I've had in the pipes for a long time, but I never like managed to like just put it in one of the streams. So Hiro Saki created that article about search Kubernetes world with GraphQL, and he's used one of the Postman functionality, which is visualizer, which allows you to visualize whatever like the API sends back in a nice way. So what he's doing, and I think there's like examples lower down. So yeah, he's using Postman. He's just displaying like kind of the graph of the response from the API. You can do that in Postman, and you can see it here. And yeah, I wanted to shout out this person a while ago. Now it's done. I'm happy. But yeah, that's about it on my side. And with that said, I'll wish you all a great evening, great day, great night. I don't know. Sohaim, thanks a lot for joining us. Hopefully.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It was nice chatting with you.
Yeah,
and
hopefully we can do that again.
Yeah, for sure.
Cool.
Thanks to everybody that joined as well. And if you guys have any questions, my Twitter handle is Sohaim Parak, so just my first name, last name. Reach out if you guys have any questions. I'm always happy to answer those for you. And yeah, thanks for having me.
Thank you. Bye-bye, everyone.